Hey guys, Professor Bill, Comic Book University, and Red Goblin, Red Death. This was a pretty wicked one-shot, and I kind of enjoyed it. We're going to talk about some parts that I didn't quite enjoy, but I'm going to tell you 5 things about the book, make you decide for yourself. Anyway, a whole bunch of people involved in this. The first of 3 stories, Rob Fee is the writer, and Pete Woods is the artist. The second story, Pete Woods continues art, but Sean Ryan takes over writing duties. The Wayside Darkness is the third and final story with Patrick Gleason on writing, Ray Anthony Height on pencils, Mark Deering on inks, and on colors, dono-sanchez-almara with Photobunker. VC's Josepino does the letters, and Philip Tan and J. David Ramos does the cover art. Bunch of people doing the variant covers, recap page art, Chris Stevens and Jason Keith, and then Anthony Gambino does the logo design. All right. So number 1 on this list is the first story. Felt kind of dirty. I felt dirty after reading this. This was, like, I didn't know that this first story or anything in here was going to be basically a serial killer style story. Like, if you would have said that this was Red Death or, Red Goblin Max from the Marvel Max series, I'm reading this and it's no problem. But I read this first story and I did not expect that it was going to be this gruesome. Like, this is basically just a serial killer hunting down his prey. And in my mind, all I can think of is, dude, these people need protection. Like, that's all I could think of was, where are the freaking superheroes? Holy, I couldn't even think that. I'm just like, dude, this is such a wicked freaking story. Like, a bad story. Wow. I did not appreciate this at all. There was no forewarning, nothing. Just, yeah, I felt dirty afterwards. I felt like I needed a shower. Yeah, I still might need a shower after this review. Anyway, let's get talking about number 2 on this list. And that is that the second story was wicked. Yes, it's going to be Norman Osborn. Norman Osborn is more in control here. And he goes after this guy who had hurt him in the past. It's like, surprise, you get to meet somebody from your past who screwed you over. Okay, did you deserve it? Hell yeah, but he took it personally. It's Norman Osborn. We know who Norman Osborn is, right? And here, it's not Norman the whole time screaming, no, we've got to stop this. This isn't right. Like, when Norman Osborn starts telling you that you're going too far, you know you're going way too far. Anyway, but in this particular story, this was pretty interesting. It leads up to number 3, which is the way that this second story finishes is where the Red Carnage story not necessarily begins, but that gap in between. Now we're all filled in. All right. So that was kind of cool. I dug on that. That's the part where he meets up with J. Jonah. Hey, give me the identity. And you can go read that in Dan Slott's run on Spider-Man right towards the very end, ending with issue number 800 of Amazing Spider-Man. Let's also talk about number 4 on this list, and that is the jugger-nougate. Nope, I'm not going to give you anything else about this particular part. You go and read the story. You see the part. If you don't just go, okay, that was pretty good, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. That's my number 4. My number 5 on this list, though, the Red Goblin is spread through children. Yeah, this was something that I didn't expect either. Now, I guess the first story really warmed me up or got me ready. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was already cooked a bit in the first story. Second story kind of brought me down a little bit, but the in a good way. In a good way, it let me down easily. But this third story, it just broke right into the idea that Normie Osborn and all these other children are now spreading the Red Goblin virus at this point. That's what it's become, which means that we're going to have more Red Goblin stories, which we always should have had more Red Goblin stories, especially since I bought the figure that eventually leads to the building of the Kingpin up here. Okay, this is Amal Farouk because of the new head with Professor X, but you get the gist, right? You get the gist. So this was a really good, I gotta say, for a one-shot that most of us are probably looking at like, oh yeah, this could be fun, but it's also a compilation book, so, who really cares? No. I cared. This was good. Just prepare yourself for that first story. For me, like I said, felt a little dirty afterwards. All right, guys, I'm done. Professor Bill, Comic Book University. Class dismissed.